So let's go for one of the questions that we received on YouTube. So on YouTube, Mbase asked, hey, I have also a question. Is it better to travel with a backpack or a suitcase? Pros and cons for both. It's a hard decision. Which should I take for my trip? I will travel around by bus and by car.
Well, that's a question that we do get very often.
Yeah.
I don't understand why, but I feel like out of everything about planning a trip in New Zealand, the most stressful part for most people is which bag to pack and what to put in it. I feel like this is the thing that I care the least about. I'm also interested in like trying to optimize my time around the country, but people go crazy about that. So it's a question that we actually do write in very
great details,
yes, on BackpackerGuide.NZ. So we'll make sure to put some links for you below. But let's go a little bit over a few points. I'm personally an advocate of backpack. Laura is more of an advocate of suitcase. So I'm going to tell you what I like about backpack and why I think backpack are the best. And then Laura will be wrong in telling you why suitcase are the best. All right. So first up, and the most important thing, right? When you pick between backpack and suitcase, when you get a backpack, you get that backpacker look. You literally look like an adventurer. You look awesome. You look like you're up to something epic, and you look like someone that people want to follow or learn more about. You know, you just embody the wandering aspect of traveling, and I personally really like the look. Anyway. It's obviously one of the least important reasons, but I think
let's start off with that. Yeah, you will look awesome with a backpack.
I think it's pretty important. Now, if you do plan to do quite a few multi-day hikes or even a few more extensive hikes around New Zealand, it's quite handy to have a backpack because yes, you're not necessarily going to want to carry everything with you. You can leave stuff behind at hostels, but you already have that backpack because even if you go for like a 3-day hike, if you start thinking about everything that you need to get between, to carry between, your sleeping bag and your food and your water and, a few change of clothes and the rain jacket because it always rains at some point, it starts being quite a lot. So the fact that you come to New Zealand with a backpack already, well, you don't have to invest in one, and you can just, kind of decide what do you leave in your backpack when you go for your walk, and then at the hostel before you go, you can leave a pile of stuff that you're not going to need.
But what do you put that pile of stuff in when you take your backpack?
Well, you actually can leave it in the storage unit at the hostel.
Yeah,
so
but all your loose things? I guess they'll give you a bin bag or something.
Exactly, they give you a crate or something,
Yeah,
so I personally feel, I feel like the flexibility that it gives you is really good. If you do have to roam around a little village or town or those kind of things, well, it's kind of handy to have a backpack because you just, put it on your back and pack, basically. So I find that very easy and in many ways much easier than a suitcase.
Yeah.
I also find backpack much more durable. I have to be honest, I did travel around the world quite extensively, and damn, I broke a lot of suitcases.
Yeah.
They're a bit more flimsy. They're not really as resistant as what a backpack is. I still have the same backpack that I had, about 10 years ago, and it's still like perfect. And I mean, not perfect, but it still holds on. While I've changed suitcase quite a lot. So yeah, I personally feel like they're more durable, so they're a better investment. Backpacks are also pretty much airline friendly. They accommodate very handily with backpack. Quite often you actually even can take them as carry-ons. I also find as I say, airlines, they usually toss them around like quite a lot, the bags. And then so a suitcase, will break quite easily rather than the backpack won't. So, if you ever see baggage handlers in the airport,
they're quite fun to watch. You're like, God, that's people's stuff there.
Fun is the word.
Yeah.
All right. And what do you have else? Oh, yeah. And I really like the fact that there's so many little pockets around. You have one suitcase, there's probably one big zip in the middle, and you can have a few things there. But backpack, there's pockets everywhere. So you can have one for your bottle of water, one for your iPod, one for your phone, one for your passport. And you always know where everything is. It's always a very easy access. With that in mind, I would definitely use those
packing cubes.
Yeah,
I think
those
they're
packing
called.
cubes. Yeah, I will definitely use packing cubes in a backpack because the main drawback for backpacks, and I'll be totally honest, even if I absolutely think backpacks are much better, are the fact that it's so much harder to find your stuff in a backpack. You know, it's like one tube and you have to scavenge like a monkey to try to find the stuff that you need. So if you do a backpack, use packing cubes because that is so much easier that way. And so I personally prefer backpack for all the reasons and more. But I still think that you need to manage the drawback, which is hard to find your stuff by using packing cubes. So it costs a little bit more money. Now Laura is going to be wrong by telling you why suitcases are best.
I'm just going to say, Natalia did say that, and Laura doesn't need a backpack to look awesome. So I mean, case closed. But yeah, anyway, about suitcases. The great thing about suitcases is obviously if you have a wheelie suitcase with a handle, that is super easy to just drag around with you around airports. If you're going in your car or by bus, just to cities and towns where obviously most of the cities and towns, pretty much all the cities and towns in New Zealand have just nice paved footpaths and roads, so it's easy to drag your suitcase along there. You don't necessarily need to have a backpack. So yeah, that's the first advantage is that they're pretty easy to roll around when you're in towns and cities. And if you are traveling by car, especially if you're traveling by car, you can drive right up to your accommodation, so you don't really necessarily need to drag your suitcase too far either. The second really cool thing about suitcases is that it's really easy to find your stuff in suitcases. You just need to unzip it. It's all nice and flat, laid out before you in the way that you organized it. And, you know, like Robin said, it's a pain in the ass when you have a backpack and you're rummaging around because you can't really see into it properly. But yeah, with suitcases, it is so easy to find your stuff. And yeah, what else is a good thing about? Yeah, just like I said, yeah, if you are taking your own car around, then you can just drive straight up to your accommodation. But one of the disadvantages for suitcases is one of the many. Yeah, if you do end up maybe having to, if you are taking the bus and then you've got maybe quite a long way to walk to maybe your accommodation, which might include a gravel road or something, then it doesn't go on all surfaces. They're not really appropriate for all surfaces. Saying that, you could get a rolly suitcase which has all that like high clearance, big wheels. Like I've seen some pretty cool suitcases out there. Yeah, but in that point, like the weight alone of the suitcase is half your luggage weight, so you can literally take nothing, or you have to pay excess when you get in the plane. Yeah, true. I suppose like the more high tech your suitcase is, the heavier the suitcase gets. Like I saw like some little like 4-wheel drive suitcase, but it really feels like half the suitcase is the wheels, and half the weight of it will be the wheels as well. Yeah, sure. So I think it really, for choosing between a backpack and a suitcase, I think it really depends on what sort of destinations you're going to be going to and if you have a car or not. I'd say if you don't have a car, maybe choose a backpack so you can get around a little bit easier. You can, it's versatile. You can walk to places a little bit easier that way. But if you have a car, you just need to take your suitcase out when you packed up at your accommodation, roll to the reception, and that's pretty much it. And then you have everything so easily able to be found within your suitcase. But if you're not willing to choose either one, there's also the option to get those crazy suitcase backpacks that I have seen so much of. They're Osprey, you know Osprey? Oh, yeah. They're like huge backpack brand. They have started making ones where you can use it as a rolling suitcase as well as a backpack. And actually a lot of people have talked to us on Facebook about these backpacks, and they say that they just end up using it as a wheelie suitcase all the time anyway because they find it easier to do that. So that's always an option, and we actually do list that specific backpack that we're talking about on our article, which is the best backpacks for traveling around New Zealand, and we'll make sure to link that up in the description when we repost this video about an hour later after this broadcast.
All right, and Baze, I don't think anyone has ever talked that long about suitcase and backpacks, but I hope that covers everything you want to know. Again, we're going to put a link to an entire article about suitcase versus backpack with much more details, as well as how to pick a good backpack and how to pick a good suitcase. So there is plenty of content on the website, which we'll link to for you. And I hope that you like this video. If you do like it, and if you have any follow-up or if you guys have any extra questions while you're live, just go for it on the live chat.